The Honda Accord is what you gravitate to if you want an affordable, mid-sized car that's surprisingly upscale and fun to drive. But a quick look tells you that there are a lot of Accords out there. So which one's right for your needs? Well, we've got all the answers, so stick around as we delve into the past 10 years of the Accord to help you make your decision. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Dave Scheller from Edmunds, where we're known as the car testing pros. We've decided to team up with the experts over at CarMax to help you make the right decision on your next car. The Accord first went on sale way back in 1976, so it's been a while. And you know what? There have been some pretty cool Accords. Yeah, we said it, cool Accords. Don't you remember the pop-up headlights from the 1980s? Since there are so many versions over the last 3 generations, we're gonna concentrate on the sedan, the bread and butter of the Accord lineup. So if you're not familiar with the lingo, a generation represents a major change for a vehicle. So it gets redesigned with new looks, new features, and new specs. Most cars get a new generation about every 5 to 7 years, and the Accord is currently in its 10th generation. This is a 2011 EX V6, part of the 8th generation that debuted for the 2008 model year. And its biggest claim to fame was, well, being big. It was way bigger than its predecessor, with a lot more interior space as well. It was available with either a 4-cylinder or a V6 engine. Now over here, we have a 2017 EXL V6, part of the 9th generation that debuted in the 2013 model year. This generation was sleeker, smoother, and sportier looking compared to its predecessor. The interior got a major upgrade in terms of refinement, and the V6 was the most powerful ever put into an Accord, even to this day. The hybrid also debuted in this generation, providing surprisingly good power and excellent fuel economy estimates. Lastly, this is a 2019 EXL. As I mentioned before, today's Accord is the 10th generation, and it came out for the 2018 model year. It's the most radical redesign of the Accord in its history. The interior is packed with upscale materials and tech. There is a choice of 2 new turbocharged engines, and even the hybrid got a significant upgrade with a new, smaller battery that doesn't cut into trunk space. Okay, so now that we're done with the broad overview, let's take a closer look at the exterior design. The 8th generation Accord, looked at through today's eyes, just looks bulky with that big greenhouse. However, all that glass does mean good visibility. But the overall design just doesn't really flow together all that well in our opinion. But the 9th generation Accord does a much better job at managing its proportions. Now it's physically smaller than its predecessor, but you only lose a little bit of headroom. We think the sleek lines have held up well, conveying a sportier look than the 8th generation Accord. Picking out the hybrid from the crowd means looking for the little blue hybrid badges on the exterior. Now this brings us to the current generation Accord. The blunt nose and the longer hood sort of give it like a European vibe to it. Now if you're wondering why it looks so modern, well, it's because you can still get these brand new today. Honda is known for clever interior design that makes the most of its space and storage, so we're gonna see that a lot in these cars. Now this 8th generation Accord may not be the prettiest on the outside, but it feels huge on the inside. Hat tip to all of this headroom. In fact, you know this Accord has more headroom than the 2 newer models? Believe it or not, it does. It also has lots of legroom for everybody, and the trunk is plenty big to boot. The downsides? Well, like the exterior, the interior just hasn't really aged all that well, with lots of hard and cheap feeling plastics. I mean, look at this infotainment system. It is seriously dated, like it feels old. When this 8th generation Accord debuted though, you gotta remember that the iPhone had only been on sale for a few months, so you can forget all about Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, or even touchscreens for that matter. When this generation Accord debuted, it had an aux input, and the 2012 model offered an optional USB input. Now the interface itself is another downside. I mean, look at this. Tons of buttons, and they all look and feel the same, and they're all crammed together, and it's just a mess. Honestly, it's a mess. But hey, on the plus side, the sound system does sound pretty good. All right, so moving in here to the 9th generation car, things are much better. Like, it's night and day. The interior materials are significantly better, and even though the headroom isn't as generous as the older car, there's still plenty of it. Plus, there's lots of legroom for you and all your friends. And like I said earlier, the trunk got even bigger. But if you do opt for the hybrid, you're gonna lose about 2 grocery bags of trunk space, because that's where Honda decided to put the batteries. So there's a split in the 9th generation car. From 2013 to 2015, the dash was actually a more simplified and organized version of the previous system, featuring a screen near the windshield for the audio system or a touchscreen on the higher trims. All right, so in 2016, the interior was refreshed with a new, larger touchscreen on the EX and above, with an improved but still flawed interface like we have right here in our 2017 tester. So with the new touchscreen, Honda decided to ditch the volume knob altogether, which really makes adjusting the volume way more annoying than it should be. The good news is that it added Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration, but it can be a little slow to respond. But hey, we'd much rather have a slightly laggy CarPlay than no CarPlay at all. Overall, this interior design has really held up well over time, both in terms of usability and refinement. I think it still looks good. And now we take a big leap forward to this 10th generation. You know what? It's actually nice enough in here, and you may be forgiven if you thought that this was actually from Acura, Honda's upscale brand. There are literally soft touch surfaces everywhere, and look at this. The open pore look of this wood grain is just so fashionable, and everything in here just feels a cut above the competition. There's plenty of room in here for everybody, and if you want a hybrid, this generation makes the most of the space because, listen to this, you actually finally get a full-size trunk. Now you can also get a heads-up display on this generation's Accord Touring, projecting really important information right here on the windshield so you can engage in your little fighter pilot fantasies during your commute. Now, as we've seen in the previous generations, the infotainment system was something that you had to put up with. But in this car, it's a highlight, okay? You gotta know. The touchscreen is bigger with a physical volume knob, so yay for that, with a wholly redesigned interface that uses big, logically placed icons. Now, from 2018 through 2020, all Accord trims except for the LX also came standard with CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration. But starting in 2021, all Accords get it, and upper trims even get wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Plus, EXL and Touring trims come with a powerful 10-speaker sound system that's actually pretty good. First thing you should know is that all three generations have had top crash test safety ratings, and Accords have had backup cameras ever since 2013. It's also important to remember that the Accord, no matter what year, is a mainstream family sedan and not a high-end European sports sedan. But the Accord can be surprisingly fun to drive. Except for this 8th generation. Now don't get us wrong, for the day-to-day drive, it's fine. You know, steering is great, visibility is amazing, and has a very comfortable ride. But if you ask this car to hustle, it's gonna disappoint. There's a lot of lean in corners, and even though the engine specs are powerful on paper, both the 4-cylinder and the V6 are hampered by a slow-responding 5-speed automatic transmission. Surprisingly, the V6 feels sluggish, especially when pulling away from a stop. On top of all that, there's just a lot of engine and road noise. Advanced driver assist features are fairly new, so it's no surprise that the oldest Accord of the bunch doesn't offer anything like that. So you'll need to look at the newer generations in order to get any of those features, and guess what? We're gonna do that right now. The driving experience definitely improved with this 9th generation car. The 4-cylinder is paired with the CVT, and we've got to admit that it's responsive enough to hold up even today. But the sweet spot is the V6. You gotta remember that this V6 is the most powerful Accord ever produced. It's nicely matched with a 6-speed transmission, though we kind of feel like it's a little slow to respond at times. The suspension also offers a comfortable ride with good handling for a family car. The interior is also noticeably quieter than its predecessor. Now, as for active driver assist, Honda began trickling systems into this generation, starting with the 2013 model year. From 2013 to 2015, you could get forward collision warning and lane departure warning on EXL and above trims, which is a pretty advanced tech for the time. In 2016, the full Honda sensing suite of driver assist systems was made available to all trim levels, and we highly recommend making the stretch if you can, because believe me, it's definitely worth it. Instead of the more familiar blind spot warning system, the 9th generation came with Honda's Lane Watch, which is a camera system that shows you what's on the passenger side of the car. It's definitely not as intuitive as modern blind spot monitoring. It doesn't cover the driver's side, and on top of all that, it doesn't work particularly well at nighttime. Okay, so remember when I said the Accord wasn't a sports sedan? Well, this current generation may make a liar out of me. Whether we're talking about the standard engine and its CVT, or the more powerful 2.0-liter turbo and its 10-speed automatic, This car has sauce, and honestly, it's just really fun to drive. And if you're really into driving, there's even a 6-speed manual transmission available on sport models that were made from 2018 through 2020 with either a 1.5 liter or a 2.0 liter engine. Now, if you're into manual cars, then hey, they do have some available. Manual Accord Sports are unicorns, but if you can find one, they are a blast to drive. The top of the line touring trim comes with special shocks that can be adjusted to be firmer or softer depending on the drive mode. But honestly, we think that the standard suspension is a good enough balance between ride and handling that it makes the fancy and expensive touring setup really unnecessary. Now, as for driver's aids, this generation actually features an updated Honda Sensing Suite system that is quicker and has more natural feeling reactions. It also has a better blind spot monitoring system, which alerts you of traffic on both sides of the car. There's a lot to consider when it comes to these generations of the Accord. So which one's right for you? The 8th generation car is a comfortable sedan that's roomy enough for you and all your tall friends. You should be able to get into a higher end trim these days for a decent price. We recommend the 2012 model if you can for the nice updates. It feels much older in many respects compared to its newer siblings, but there is a lot to like here. Now, the 9th generation Accord is something of a tweener. On one hand, the 2013 through 2015 models all drive very well, with a more upscale look and feel than the earlier 8th generation cars. But with all that said, the 2016 and 2017 models are definitely the ones to get, thanks to the availability of modern smartphone integration and advanced driver assist systems. Then there's the current 10th generation Accord. This thing's pretty great. Honda managed to make a comfortable, roomy, classy looking, and fun driving sedan with all the modern touches and features standard. Yes, you'll pay more, but you'll also get a lot more too. So what do you look for when buying a used car? Modern technology? Roominess? How about fuel economy estimates? Let us know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe to CarMax's YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to learn anything else about these cars behind me, click the link in the description for an in-depth article. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.